Hello folks, and we are back for another race around in Tier 2 in China. We had quite an eventful race in Tier 1 yesterday, and today I'm joined with my co-commentator Adil Chinoy. So Adil, what's your expectations for today's race? And I think strategy is going to be a big part in this race. We saw that a lot of people didn't set their lap times in Tier 1 to have free tire choice.
I mean, China's always an exciting race, Masum, isn't it?
Yep.
We've got incredibly long 1.1 or 1.2 kilometer long straight, back straight. We've got an extreme variation in strategies because usually it's normally one of two strategies. Here it's one of three normally. And we always have a few incidents, even though this track is fairly wide. We always have a few incidents given the nature of the circuit. So a lot to look out for. But yeah, excited.
Okay, there's in quali. So without further ado, let's watch the hot lap and then enter qualifying.
Sounds good.
Beautiful speed junkies, and welcome to another blistering fast hot lap as we go around the Shanghai International Circuit with our very own Maranello baby. Now approaching the start finish straight, eating the bollard on entry, almost like a hungry cat over there as Maranello goes up through the gears, switching to the left hand side of the track as soon as he can, waiting for the curbs on the left to end before you switch back to the right hand side of the track, going down the gears as gently as you can, because it's like you're being a ballet dancer on the gears through here. You've got to be careful, you've got to be gentle, and you've got to be light on the throttle as well as you exit. It's easy to get greedy if you're following a car in front of you, but the main overtaking zone is the turn 6 that you see over here, a hard braking right-hander hairpin after a quite flat out section. Now as you exit this section, it's important that you maintain good speed to the left and right switchbacks. As you see, it's a left hand fast sweeping left-hander which then switches to a right-hander. So important that you don't go wide anywhere to compromise your speed. Important again not to go wide through turn 9 so that you get a fantastic blistering fast exit out of turn 10. Making sure not to go too wide because then you'll spin out as you try and bring back your car to the track. Now again through this section, braking very well, making sure you don't throttle too hard on the curbs. Again, a left to right switch back, going flat out, staying on 6th gear through this section so that you don't get too much RPM and probably get an oversteer. One of the longest back straights on the Formula 1 calendar, DRS Open. This is the time when you analyze your strategy, see what the drivers ahead in front of you are doing, figure out what your next 2 laps worth of strategy will be. Maranello locks up really hard. It's one of the most precarious braking zones of the track because it's very, very dependent on your tire conditions. Now turn 16, important to get maximum corner speed, but at the same time not going wide over there because you will lose your track time, as Maranello shows us exactly how to get it done around the Shanghai International Circuit.
Hello folks, and now we're back in qualifying, and oh, it's a wet race and a dry to wet transition, no less.
Well, if we had, I think Tier 2 is slowly becoming one of our most featured events on our channel. So if there was an event to have some variation and have some sort of a spanner in the works, this would be it.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep, but just before we get started, drivers will be warming up. They'll be probably, I mean, the optimal strategy is probably mediums to hards. We'll see quite a few drivers qualifying on the mediums, but some drivers may choose to qualify on the softs and just avoid any carnage in the first few laps. So, but before we get into that, Masum, walk us through yesterday's Tier 1 race. What are the points to look out for? I think I've already laid a few down, but talk me through your race yesterday and what you've learned from it going into Tier 2.
One thing we know for sure is that the hard medium is extremely quick. I think in the total race time, you can gain around 2 to 3 seconds on people on the medium hards, and it's definitely quicker than the soft hards. But also, I think incidents in turn 1 are going to be an issue because the cambering of that corner is, very strange. Like it is on camber it plays or off camber it plays. That's gonna cut out some people, and I'm expecting someone to basically ram into someone on the inside, and they'll get understeer when they don't expect it. As we can see, Scary Pumpkin here now coming through turn 11. He was very, I raced him in Tier 2 in season 4, and he was a driver that I would call as dominating, but for some reason he hasn't been able to get the same level of competitiveness out here. But I think he'll be back. So it's only a matter of time before he gets used to the game physics here.
Well, as we all know, pace is very, very relative in any racing scenario, real life or otherwise. So if you're quick or slow, it's not about just you, it's how quick you are in relation to the people you're up against. And there's no denying, I think the standard of racing in IRC, with the amount of practice going in, the amount of effort people are putting into these games, and the rewards are really showing. I mean, you can see the entire grid improving, more and more unranked sessions, more knowledge of wheel-to-wheel racing among especially Tier 2, which has shown us some exhilarating wheel-to-wheel action over the course of this season so far.
Yep, absolutely. And as we can see, RB sits 31-0 and Scary Fam Games at 31-2. But something I want to bring out is that we know the rain is coming within half an hour. So, do you think it makes any sense to qualify on the softs?
To be honest, I don't think the rain is going to be in the window for the mediums either.
Yeah,
I think I think the people who start on the hard tires up in up in P11 downwards, will be the biggest gainers today. We may see, and of course, I can vouch for how powerful the hards to mediums is. But again, with the rain coming, you never really know. And I think it's moving back to dry at the end of the race, or is it not going to, or is the track not going to dry up in time?
No, but it's going to stay wet. So, you know what to expect from that.
Yep. But the initial pace setters have sort of put in a few laps. Red Bull provisional 1 and 2 for now, but it's a long session to go. Qualifying 31-0 on the softs, we know the drivers can go faster, but at the same time, can they go faster on the medium? So I think RB is committing to starting on the soft tires.
Yeah, I think a lot of drivers want to avoid incidents. And a bigger point is that you can't really qualify on the hards in this game anymore. Your best choice is mediums right now. But I think the mediums, if you're good on your tires, you can take them till 18 laps.
Yep. So there's some error, I think, in the driver selection. If you notice, WTF Chicken, has actually selected the Mercedes for today. I think somebody may have taken up his Renault spot.
Nirma has taken up this spot because we did not. So basically, Nirma was a reserve, and couldn't join on quali, so he couldn't get his car ideally. So that's basically what happened.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, but folks, don't get confused. Chicken's points are still going to go to the Renault constructor. It's just a slight mishap.
He's doing an Ocon. He's doing what Ocon
He's basically doing an Ocon, yeah. Yep.
Meanwhile, talking about other Mercedes driver, we have Cryptid here. He's building a very strong reputation as a very aggressive driver. So
well, certainly, and I think just to help us get a better idea of the strategies in place, Mas, would you mind switching on the tire compounds just so we know what the drivers are on?
Yep, my bad. Yep,
that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, so most of the drivers, I think a lot of drivers might come into the softs and they might just go for a soft, medium, and wets at the end.
Yep, I don't think that, especially in dry to wet conditions, I don't think anyone's going to opt for the full wet, the blue wall tire.
Yeah.
I do feel that given the transition, they're going to go into the intermediates and stick with it, because I doubt they'll be. I mean, we saw that, I believe, in our recent special event where drivers who opted for the wet tire were not actually able to make up the time when there is a transition.
Absolutely. And Sid currently retires. Wait, let me name the track map.
Track map, yeah.
Yep. He's retired on the sector 2. Let's see if we can get. Yeah, I think Cryptid is coming over there.
Yep, exactly. And if you notice, this curve on the left-hand side of Cryptid right now is a curve that you could very easily take in the 2019 game. But in 2020, that if you're especially running a slightly higher suspension, that does unsettle your car quite heavily.
Yep, absolutely, and that really unsettles you, and I would say it's an unsavable spin nearly.
Yep, Cryptid goes purple in the second sector, but I just want to inform you, BK19 has slipped RB Ferrello by going, I think, about a tenth faster, and I think it's a full Honda Pantro lockout for now, but it's a long session, 9 more minutes to go. Keep it pretty.
That lap? I think they still have more, and I say that Monish Banger is only 2 tenths off that particular lap, so it will see if he's going to improve significantly on that lap. If he can take food in the last sector, if he's running a little less wing, and maybe he picked up a bit of a slipstream with those two AlphaTauri and the Red Bull on the straight.
Seems
let's
to
see.
be a banger of a lap. Let's see what he can do in the
Yep,
final corner.
absolutely.
He could go a little wide on the curb, stays inside. He does not take the esports line, luckily. But
Yep.
yeah,
So he was 2 tenths off in sector 2, but he then lost 8 tenths in sector 3, which is quite a massive loss, if I may say so. As we
but it has
said,
something to do with the traffic he ran into.
but they were on the straight. I don't think so. But I think a lot of drivers are struggling with turn 11 in particular.
And why is that?
Nope. Okay, let's Chicken is on a seems to have aborted his hot lap. Let's go about Monk. Yep. Ooh, Monk goes really well. I think that was on purpose to invalidate his lap, if I'm not wrong.
We can never really say, can we?
Really. Yep.
But
Now let's go on with RB
certainly looked intentional.
for his hot lap right now. Keeping it tight, getting on the power early.
Do you know what? Do you know what, Masum? I think a soft to medium may actually be as quick as the hard tires, because I think both of us did start on the hard tires yesterday, and I'm not sure about you, but I certainly faced some major issues getting them into the right temperature window and getting them working. So I think the time loss in the first few laps, the traffic you're stuck in, may actually sort of
Even
limits the soft starting on the softs.
even I had a similar thought process, but I think if a situation does arrive where the hard tires are like just out of reach from the wet pace, it's going to be really hard for them to keep going.
Yeah.
So it's all a gamble right now. But I think a soft medium is a safer bet in this situation. As RB goes massively up with a 30.2, so that means he is committing to on the softs.
I just want to say that's not far off our tier 1 pace. I know Black Sheep put in a pretty good lap in the 29s, but for the rest of the drivers in the 30s, that's a pretty competitive lap even by tier 1 standards.
Yep,
Good job, RB.
Yep, good job. And Scary seems to be. So I was talking about how Scary is not a bit off in terms of pace, but looks like he's trying to prove us all wrong by the 30.3 he has done right now. Now let's see. He's on his second hot. Actually, yes, notice he is very low in ERS, so that's very strange. So I guess he is not on a lap.
I think this is an in lap.
Yep. Yep, we're on. Let's go about Faizan right now. He's provisionally at a 33.2. Starting.
I don't think that was an optimal line. That wasn't an optimal line through turns 1, 2, and 3. So he would be sort of handicapped, but I think he's about 2 seconds behind. Yeah, he's about 1.2 seconds behind the pole sitter of RB in sector 1 alone. So I think he may have bought this lap, fit in, and go for maybe a medium run towards the end.
Yep, could be. He could be having higher tires potentially. But let's go on about Evil Dog is once again invalid his lap. Every time I come on Evil Dog, he seems to have invalidated his lap. But we have what the fuck's against teammate Crypted Freeze now starting a lap now. I'm getting confused between the Mercedes and Renault, but okay.
I think we should start calling him What the Beep Chicken, just to appease our under 18 viewers, maybe.
Yep.
But we were talking about Scary Pumpkin earlier, but he's gone a 130.3, which is right up there with RB.
Yep, absolutely. I think Pole is going to be beating those guys, but I can see a lot of people, I think, are not going to set the lap time to have the tire choice. At least the looks of it.
Why do you think so?
Because I think at the end of the day, they don't. It's very difficult to recuperate a pit stop, especially given the traffic they will face on the way. I think.
But don't you feel like the hard tires will face the same traffic, if not worse?
Yeah, but they still
first stint.
don't have to They still don't have to face the particular. What do you call? To the pit stop. There's still 22 seconds of massive time to gain back.
It is, but just to give you a like-by-like comparison. So, Tanish and I are Tanish, Myth and I are fairly close together in terms of pace. And in the first stint, Myth pulled out about 10 seconds on me. Myth and Tanish pulled out 10 seconds on me, purely because of the time loss on hards versus the tires as well. So, and if you notice after the safety car, Myth was able to actually overtake the hard compound tires in sector 2, which is, as we know, a not very common overtaking spot around China. So gripped up mediums, especially people start on the softs and switch on to fresh mediums about, let's say, 5 or 6 laps in. could be very fruitful against those drivers who just stick to the hards for the entirety of the first stint.
Yep. As we say that Death Hunter is only 1600ths of pole right, 3000th of pole right now. So can he spring a surprise? Oh, as we see the Ferrari pulling the slipstream there.
I'm surprised Monish didn't gun it down the
Oh,
straight.
he did not enable DRS. Is that a bug?
No, he hasn't enabled DRS.
What?
I think this may be a case of some drivers turning a few assists off and forgetting they've turned them off.
Could be. That's very strange.
He's out of ERS as well. He was left.
30 points. He definitely he would have easily lost that time by disabling DRS there. By forgetting to enable DRS. So
Yeah, and disabling DRS actually burns your ERS a bit more because you're essentially, and I don't know why, but in the game especially, burning the ERS consumption with DRS is far lower than the ERS consumption without DRS. So I don't know why that is so, but I think that may have been the reason Death Hunter ran out of ERS at the final corner. Either way. Let's go on board with Freeze right now because he's in a crucial position right now where he needs to put in a lap. Scary Pumpkin, is he on an outlap? Yeah, he's on an outlap. He needs to put in a lap because if he does it, if he's not able to, then he's basically going to be stuck. And I think this is his last chance.
Yep, absolutely. I think the Renault boys might once again try for the. I don't think so because Check-in is still behind. But I think Banger is on a lap 2. And no, he's not. I thought they were doing the reverse lifting this lap around, but they're not.
Yep. So when exactly does the rain come in? When do you think it's going to convert to? After how many laps?
It says 30 minutes. So according to our actually let me bring that up again. If you can see it, so if you can see it's coming. It says light rain, heavy rain in 30 minutes, and thunderstorm conditions in 45 minutes.
Yep.
So
I think
Brazil could start all the way at 20 minutes potentially.
Do you think the medium runners would be able to stretch out their medium tires? Oh my god. Freeze has just invalidated the last corner and ruined his qualifying. He cannot get around one more time.
That time, of course, there's no but Scary Pumpkin who has not started his lap, but he is very close to Freeze right now.
Yep, I think Freeze was behind him on the outlap and yeah, I think he must have overtaken him, but Freeze has a spin even though he's not really on a hot lap. Yep. Hopefully that didn't put Scary Pumpkin off by too much, but he does have a
2 tenths off RB, but he could have been weaker in the first sector. Let's see if he can improve further the next lap.
Yep. I just want to let you know that both RB and Warhammer are on an outlap, so is BK19. Death Hunter doesn't seem to be going out again. He's in the pits right now. But that being said, Scary Pumpkin makes a bit of a mess.
He's being very aggressive on the power, what I can notice.
I think he's aborted the lap.
Yep. No, he's still on his lap, but I think he's not improved. Ooh, I think he has aborted his lap as Cryptid goes on pole with a 30.2.
Only half a tenth separating P1 and 2. RB, I think, has just started his lap.
He's not up in sector 1, he's a 10th off. Off what Cryptid has done, but that's expected given Cryptid is a controller player, and I've noticed the controller has a very big advantage in turns 3, 9 and 11.
Yep.
Let's
see if he can make up some of that time in sector 2 though.
Yep. This particular corner you have to be so committed on the turning. When he does make a bit of time, sets goes purple in sector 2.
But that just shows you how well matched Cryptid and RB are, because even though he went purple, he only gained about maybe 100th through there. Gets a slightly weak exit, and this is where Cryptid would have been quite strong, I'm sure. So it's all guns blazing for the final 3 corners. Let's see what he can do. Yep, absolutely. Final 2 corners.
Freaking hard. Getting on the
perfect.
Goes very wide there.
I'm surprised his lap didn't invalidate. I don't think he can invalidate your lap there. Clips the curb. Yeah, stays in. I don't think he's got it.
Porta, he lost massive amount of time at that hairpin.
Yep.
That leaves Faizan to set his final lap. He's on the softs. No,
And he's not using the IRC, I think. He's up.
So interestingly, Freeze and Harry, Harry didn't even leave the pits. So I hope he's in session, but I assume he's also coming into the hearts. But you know, based on the weather prediction we saw earlier, I think the mediums is the right way to go.
I actually agree with you. I'm not sure when the rain will fall, but the mediums can go at least about 14 laps, 15 laps if you conserve them. So yeah, it could be the tire to be on, but again, that's part of the excitement again, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely.
But yeah, walking you through the grid, cryptid with that pole position with 400s over RB. Then we have Scary Pumpkin. We have Warhammer, Monish Banger with a banger of a 5th place. Sorry, I just need to do that. Death Hunter, BK19, Crazy Zoo. And then we have a medium runner the first medium runner of Avi and then Evil Dog. I'm not sure if Evil Dog would have liked that 10th position, may have preferred being in P11, but Nirma gets a free choice of tire in that perfectly placed 11th spot. Deepak, Monk, Chicken, and then Sid Kulkarni. That's the most I could get out, but we'll catch up with the grid shortly.
Yep, I think we are in for a banger of a race with all the strategies. It's already overcast, so the rain might come very quickly.
Yep. But the game is fairly sort of accurate on the time slots for the rain, but we don't know exactly when between the 0 and 30 mark.
Yep, exactly.
It's going to start rain.
Let me try restarting our telemetry. Sometimes it does provide the right answer. Nope, it does not.
I mean, it's providing the right data. It's just not got as many slots.
Yep. As we see, yep. Oh, I don't know what happened there. That shouldn't have happened, but okay. Alright, looks like it's going to be a game of who's going to like blink first and ready up early. Hopefully nobody does. I think last week Sid lost out on a podium place because of the particular penalty.
Yes, and I think Sid's another driver who has been sort of online and getting back up to pace. He wasn't sort of taking the game as seriously at the start of the cycle, but I think in the last few weeks he's made huge strides. I mean, we saw a great performance in Silverstone, if I'm not wrong, from Sid. So let's see if he can replicate the varying conditions over here and see what he does in the wet.
You know, something I heard from Sid was that in that particular race he wasn't running a wet setup, he was running a dry setup. So that's definitely quite impressive from him to keep it on track with the setup like that.
Yep. But as we know, China's a very, very sensitive traction based track. So a wet setup may not do you all too well here. A dry setup in wet conditions, especially if it goes stormy at the end of the race.
Yep, I think we can say for sure that it's gonna go stormy. So you said earlier it might be better stay on the inters, but I have a feeling they're gonna have to go on the wets. Yes,
Only time will tell.
So we say that we are now in the formation lap.
But either way, China's a track which even though it's got a significant number of straights and potential overtaking zones. Oh no,
it's gonna rain in 5 minutes.
Holy shit. Okay, so the soft runners are definitely going to have a ball.
Well,
could it be that some of these runners did not see the weather?
I guess the prediction is a bit off from what is actually predicted in the qualifying. That does happen. Sometimes it's not exactly the same. But right now, I think all the people who were qualified in the mediums are going to have like a big F.
Yup. Well, I mean, I hope for their sake our telemetry is wrong, but at the same time, I hope for our sake that there's a shit ton of a reshuffle at the wets, because when the rain does come down so early, you do see a few drivers sort of benefit from staying out an extra lap or maybe coming in a lap early. So, and China's a very, very long track at the end of the day. So, if they do miss the pit box, there's a potential that drivers could lose 8 to 10 seconds on the in lap if the change in weather is quick enough. Because they have to go around a lap for a minute and 35 seconds. So it's not going to be it's not going to be optimal to miss that.
I
miss that
can
exact-
sense a big dilemma for the Ferrari boys. Because they're so close together, they're going to have to double stack. So
Death
one-
Hunters indeed.
So one of them is definitely, going to be on the back foot.
I think both the Red Bulls are in the same boat.
Yep. Both the Red
Or rather,
Bulls.
if you think about it, in 5 laps, in about 3 or 4 laps, how much of a gap can you really pull over your teammate? So everyone should really be in the same boat,
Yep.
except for I think, which is a one lone warrior from their team.
Yep.
Really, I can't figure out which team has only one driver. Is it the McLaren? Yeah. Apart from Deepak, everyone else is in the same boat.
Yep, absolutely. And I think who started on the mediums are going to have a interesting choice to make. As you can see, a lot of guys who did not set a lap did eventually still starting on the softs, so they might benefit. But at least with the better start on the softs.
Yep. And we see Faizan, Harry, and Freeze backing the pack up significantly, getting rid of their competitors' temps. But let's see how much of an effect that really has on the start. But as we say that Freeze is lining up at the back in P19, we have all drivers on the grid. We should see the load up right now. And the 5 lights, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's the 5th light as it eliminates. Yes, now we see a very quick starting Red Bull. Can he challenge Cryptid into turn 1? And RB gets P1. Cryptid tries to hang it around the outside. He's still there around the outside, but RB does slot into into P1. Warhammer maintains P3. But we do have a yellow flag, and that's a Ferrari, or is
that's Alfa Romeo of Monk, and Death Hunter has fallen back, so I guess that removes the dilemma for them. But as we see, that was a Verstappen Hamilton-like start between Cryptid and RB.
Yep, Chicken is just making a move on Sid Kulkarni, and Sid's on the soft tires, so we have another spun car of a racing point. So Faizan is currently dropping to the back of the grid. That's unfortunate.
It looks like Chicken couldn't get past Sid Kulkarni in that particular aspect, and now going on to let's see, a very claustrophobic sector 2, if I may say.
But wheel-to-wheel action between the Alpha Tauri of BK and Warhammer. But BK does get the move done onto the long straight. But is that the best position to do that? Because now Warhammer has 1.1 kilometers to get back at BK19. This is exhilarating stuff.
Yep. And BK is already busted, and it's already raining, folks.
Oh, you gotta love this action. There's a yellow flag in Sector 3. I think Renault has spun. Nirma has spun coming onto the straight. But yeah. I can't keep track of which one of those two are in front. But Warhammer does seem to have the inside.
And he's already pit, a very early pit from Warhammer. But let's see if he's going to benefit from that.
Warhammer nearly pulls Hamilton into the wall.
Yep. Oh, Cryptid is on the inside right now. Oh, gets all. That was very lucky from Abi. If you clip that grass, it's an instant spin.
Yep, and Cryptid sort of did well to keep his car pointing the right way with a little help from RB. But RB on those has brilliant traction. Cryptid on the inside. Will he maintain position? No, he backs out, gives RB the corner. Can he pull back? But no, he cannot. Chicken does pit right now. I'm not sure if he has damage or if...
Oh no, Death Hunter has gone onto the wets.
He might be playing the long game. It actually might work out for him.
It's not really raining that much yet. Yeah, but he's going to be very slow for the next couple of laps.
I guess given the fact he has the pace, he wanted to try something different and see if he could sort of... because you can't expect to do the same thing and make up a shit ton of ground.
Yep, absolutely. So see that RB has now pulled quite a big gap on Cryptid here, but Cryptid still on the tail of him. DRS isn't disabled yet. Let's go about Warhammer to get an idea how he's doing. He's not. He's losing a lot of time to Washingford and Nirma. So I don't think the inters are up there yet, the looks of it. But we'll know soon once the DRS is disabled.
DRS isn't enabled yet. It's still the second lap.
Nope. Does it ever get enabled?
I don't think it will. It all depends on the crossover point, really.
Yeah. You see that RB now right on the tail of BK19, and DRS is enabled, so it's still not wet enough, I would say.
I think we need maybe one more lap, but do you feel there was a wise decision from the Alpha Tauris because now they may have to double stack, like you said?
Yep,
Oh,
and I
Cryptid
think,
and RB are going side by side.
yep, I think right now, like both of them would want to be ahead of their teammate right now.
Yep.
This is, I think, what Cryptid, you have the preference as Cryptid? Yeah, Cryptid does now go, but RB sends one on the inside. But little bit of squeeze at the apex, and RB spins! Oh no.
He needs to get. This is not good for his championship contention hopes. But his competitors aren't doing too well either.
Yep. Harry rocks big gain, 12 positions in the first lap.
He's been doing a lot of that of late. I think he's really gotten cool head this season, and he's been making a lot of wise decisions in terms of which battles to pick and which battles not to pick.
Yep, absolutely.
He's gone from not getting off the grid to gaining 12 positions. So fairly good first stint improvement.
Yep, absolutely. Akash also, his teammate also gaining quite well just in the finish of the points, and we have Sid Kulkarni now right on the tail of Evil Dog, who is on the tail of Deepak Raj. But with the dirty air and with the wet conditions, I think drivers are really struggling to stay close to the drivers.
Let me see who has the fastest lap now.
Let's have a look. It is RB Ferraro with a 38.0.
And he's going to retain that. And the DRS has been disabled, and I'm sure this is the point.
Yep.
Everyone is going to slam into the other drivers.
We jinxed him. We did jinx him. Because Harry's lost his front wing.
Yep. But luckily for him, he's still the first of the medium of the Haas drivers. So even though he may lose a few seconds changing his front wing, he tries to pull a Vettel, he can't do it.
Yep. And let's not forget, Harry is actually what do you call in the Haas, so he has a very less chance of being held up. I'm pretty sure RB is going to get held up. And his teammate died at the pit entrance.
Why had pit entry?
Akash just died at the pit entrance, I believe.
Can you say about Warhammer? But Warhammer has pitted. He pitted on the previous lap.
And there's a safety car.
There's a safety car. Pit lane closed, gentlemen. This is gonna really hurt Warhammer, and this is basically Harry's safety net right now.
And something interesting I saw was that Avi has gotten ahead of Monish Banger, so I think Monish got held in the pits.
Yep, I mean being in the Ferrari in I think one of the first few grid slots, pit boxes, isn't the best place to be.
Harry fixes his rear wing, but only lost one position, so I believe he's lucky in that sense. But let's have a look. Looking at the safety cars. Big gain has been Avi with 7 places, Monish with 2, Crazies, Joe with 4, Harry with 12, Evil Dog with 2. Scary Pumpkin gets a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane, speeding on the safety car.
The race just goes from bad to worse for the boy. But can we go on about Harry for a second? I want to see if he got his front wing changed.
Yep, he did.
Oh, that's fantastic. So no time lost, and gets a free front wing change essentially.
Yes, absolutely. And as you can see here, Freeze ahead of Scary Pumpkin, who has drive-through, and Chicken out of the 5 second to serve. I think you should go into the pits and serve that 5 seconds under the safety car, since the time loss will be less.
Yep, he should do that. I hope that the message gets out to him. I hope he's watching the stream. But if you are Chicken Changer, serve it right now.
Yep. Oh, jeez. Pumpkin got a second drive-through. What? How is that possible?
Is that even possible?
Yeah, that is possible.
Evidently.
So he has 2 drive-throughs. He has 2 drive-throughs. The third one.
I think this may be a bug.
He's gonna get disqualified for sure. I think what's happening is that he can't see the delta.
Which means he won't disqualify.
Yep, he has been disqualified.
Too many penalties.
Yep.
Oh well.
Oh fuck. That's like extreme. That's give this guy a break. He puts it P3 on qualifying, and very unfortunate for him. Let's have a look now.
But bigger question for you, Masum. Do you think that it's going to be wet weather tire conditions by the by the end of the safety car stint.
I don't think so. I can see the rain picking up, but it's not too much rain yet. You can see the spray is not that much, and our telemetry should inform once it's time for the wet tires.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is time for the wets? Is that what the telemetry says?
No, it says it's a left enter. It'll put a notification when it's time for the wets. So we're still waiting for that.
But how much of a difference will that be? I mean, by the time the drivers are sort of coming in, or safety car coming in, maybe only a lap or two to the wet weather conditions. So it might actually be prudent for them to pit onto wets, because here it's sort of a free pit stop.
Yep, it's still tough to say, but let's have a look. But I think
obviously the front runner won't. I think Chicken has pitted.
Yep.
Has pitted onto wets. But either way, let's see. I think we've got a good comparison here of whether the wets are the tires to be on.
Let's have a look how it.
Yeah, it's definitely not wet weather conditions yet, but I think in a lap or two it will be. It's really coming down.
If it does, it's going to be an extremely good strategy. But I'm kind of surprised why he's not catching up to the drivers ahead.
Safety car will definitely be out for one more lap if not wrong. Maybe two.
Oh, and his teammate gets a penalty under safety car. Very like.
I thought there was gonna be contact over there in the way we switched. But let's take a breather.
Yep.
And,
I think Warhammer's strategy gamble did not pay off at all right now. He dropped back considerably on the opening lap.
He certainly did, but to be honest, I know it's not good for his championship and constructor hopes, but we always like seeing a quick driver coming through the field, as we saw you do yesterday. So let's sort of enjoy the show.
Yep, absolutely. And the restart is going to be definitely interesting. I think a lot of drivers will focus on trying to capitalize on drivers being a bit off guard. And I think, speaking of drivers who are off guard, I don't think Death Hunt is going to make it to the. Going to catch up by the time the safety car comes in.
Yep. If he does, and Chicken needs to get a move on now. He really needs to start pushing, because if he doesn't, because the entire advantage of the wet tires, he needs to be at the safety car line with the safety car group, because if he doesn't gain that time, he will be essentially slower for a lap or two, lose out maybe 5 or 6 seconds, and then a lot of his advantage by pitting early onto those wets are negated.
I'm extremely happy about one thing, which is that so far we have not had any collision under safety car penalties, which is usually a trade of safety cars.
You should not have said that. We're still with the safety car, Masum. Have you learned nothing of the commentator's curse?
No, I think it's time we try to take away the commentator's curse. Let's see. If it doesn't work, I think it's over for good.
No. We just do it to make the race more exciting, guys. We are sadistic as hell.
Yep. And I think Chicken is going to catch up by the end of this straight.
And not just that, I mean, if you look at the leader will bunch the pack up for the restart, he definitely will be there. But I'm more concerned about Death Hunter at this point. Definitely needs to pull in. But safety car is going for one more lap thanks to that trailing Ferrari. But I don't know if that's good or bad. It just is.
Yep. As you can see, Cryptid weaving like crazy. I hope he doesn't do a Schumacher. The new one, not the old one. Yep. Oh, a weekend. Oh, he was always there.
Yeah. So let's take a breather. Let's go through the grid. Who are the biggest gainers? Who do you think would probably be fighting at the end of the race, barring any incidents?
I think Crazy Joe has done really good, but the fact he's on a keyboard means he's going to be a bit on the back foot in these conditions.
Yep.
I know BK19 is generally good in the wets. I have seen him. He's exceptionally good getting on power. So although he hasn't gained any positions, I know for a fact he's gonna be strong later
Yep.
into the
Harry
race.
has had some problems on traction before. I mean, he's recently switched to the wheels, so it's definitely not. It's definitely a huge learning experience for him in order to keep the cars behind and potentially make up a few positions.
Yep. I think Harry as a driver, like if he thinks too much, he kind of messes up. But I think if just lets it go to his instincts, he's going to do good. I think in France, for example, he was very quick, as far as I recall, in
Yep.
the wets, and we have safety car in this lap. Everyone has caught up.
Oh, but that was a long safety car.
Yep, and I think Evil Dog and Sid. I'm gonna also expect a really good. Oh my God, what is happening here?
This is bullshit.
It seems like Crazy Joe stopped on track.
I think he may have.
Oh, we jinxed it.
There we go.
We jinxed it.
Yep. Well done, Marcel.
Yep. And surprising thing is they're cousins.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. That's
You did not know
pretty
that?
cool. It's pretty cool. They're such different personalities, but it's great to see a bit of a family feud on track.
Let's see if Faizan has damage or not. Looks like he's clean.
I think check Nirma, because there was a bit of a reshuffle. Nirma's clean as well, I think.
Yep.
Okay, and Cryptid is taking it right up to the line. I think Cryptid went and slowed down again.
He's gone. Yep. He nearly did Season 5 China. As Avi gets a stop and go penalty for collision with Monish Banger. Oh my God, and Monish Banger also gets a penalty. But good shot from Cryptid, but Avi is right on his tail. But can Avi keep up with Cryptid in this particular race?
Yep, I mean, I think Avi was the car in front, so I don't know if he'll be able to get that to move, but it's highly likely. Either way, BK and Harry are going side by side. Harry around the outside has the superior grip. Can he get it on the run down to turn 4? He is on the inside. He does have the superior line. Hugs the inside. BK tries to hold it, but Harry says nothing.
Harry shoves him out wide, but fair play.
Harry rocks. But BK comes back. Harry leaves room on the inside. Oh, not so much. But BK, that was optimistic at best. But either way, glad to see no carbon fiber flying around. And,
I want to know how BK kept it on track while going on the grass.
Yeah, a lot of skill. He is good in the wets.
Yep, and let's see that Deepak Raj right on the tail of BK, but a bit on the back foot in that particular exit. Not using any ERS right now, so he's conserving it. It's all steady on turn 10.
Harry gets stuck on that outside curb, and as we know, that outside curb is no friend to the turn-in that you need for
Crazy Joe on Monish Banger there.
Yeah, Monish doesn't really fight it. I mean, he has the ERS to serve. I mean, to spare, but he doesn't fight it. He does make like a half-hearted lunge down the inside, but I don't think that even he thought he was going to retain that position. Switches to the inside, but that will compromise his line onto the straight.
Very same position, but is he going to now send one on the inside of turn 1? But RB is right behind these guys to capitalize on any mistakes.
I think RB will be hoping for a mistake from those two, because if these two continue fighting, RB is just going to lose out so much time to Cryptid and to we have already pulled out 2.3 seconds in a lap. In a single lap, that's incredible. The leader's absolutely flying right now.
Yeah, absolutely. We know they will later face soon, but at least we have a disconnect from Crazy Joe there.
Things just going from I hate when I see disconnections, because it's just it leads to shit like that. But anyway, great stuff from RB to capitalize. This is exactly the mistakes and exactly the situation that he would have wanted. I think with Monish making a mistake and Crazy Joe sort of disconnecting, RB does capitalize and pull his way back up to P3, potentially recovering his race from that spin, a net drop of 1 position.
Yep. Something interesting I really point out is that we didn't see Crazy Joe left the session, so it's possible that it's only a desync and we'll probably see him in P1 like after half an hour.
Yep. Either way, Eccentric, I think Eccentric is the host for today. If you're watching this, just try and get Crazy Joe back in.
Yep.
Anyway, But the
Dog
closest
very-
battle on track does seem to be Evil Dog on Deepak, who is again quite close to BK19. Well, not very close to, but anyway. Will Evil Dog make a lunge down the inside? But Evil Dog is one of the most mature drivers on the grid and doesn't seem to be making lunges or making moves which are questionable at all.
Yeah.
Tell me something. You worked a lot with Harry, and from what I've noticed, Harry is making many more mistakes on the brakes than he is on the throttle. Is that something that he's been working on? Is it something that he's turned off an assist, or what exactly is going on with Harry right now?
I'm not sure. He is still on ABS as far as I know. I think the main aspect he struggles out is with figuring out the edge of the grip on the steering. He puts a lot more lock than what's required.
Understood. I don't know if you missed it, but I think BK went into the back of Harry and lost a significant amount of his front wing.
Yep.
So he will be handicapped, but then again, understeer sometimes helps you in the rain.
Yep. But still gonna lose time because you don't. China is such a friend limited track. We missed it. I think Ace Adi Warhammer kind of lost a lot of position earlier on, and he's had to take another pit stop. So I believe he got damaged at some point. But still, things seem to have settled down. Something I've noticed with Death Thunder is that he struggles in the race. His race management is not very up to par, if I should say so.
Yep. One driver who's, as expected, has lost a few seconds, which is 5 or 6 seconds, is Chicken. But I think within a few laps, the race will start coming back to him because
He is on
there's
the
the front limitation that BK9 that you talking about.
I mean, that corner is so difficult because on entry it's front limited, on exit it's rear limited.
Yeah.
You have to be, you're literally like, it's like driving on, toes there, like on your toes there.
The completely, but moves all over the track. Sid making a move on Crazy Joe, and I believe Fivezan making a move on Evil Dog. But Evil Dog is dropping down another position. Has something going on?
Evil
He fits.
Dog boxing. Does he have damage? He does not.
I think it's time for wets.
Let's have
I think
a
he's taking a gamble to undercut all the other inter runners to try and get onto the wets a bit earlier. But that will, I don't know if the wets can go 17 laps because he obviously will have to go to the end of the race.
Yep. As far as you know, the wets are more durable than the inters. Like they are more likely to go for the long distance than inters.
That could also be that the average speed on wets is relatively lower than the average speed on inters. But we never know. Let's see, because we should probably monitor his Evil Dog's pace to the likes of Cryptid and Avi, and see what the gap to leader is.
Avi is now dropping a tiny bit away from Cryptid right now. Not what he wants, but let's have a look at the later lap times. I'll bring up the graphics here. And Avi was gaining on Cryptid, but is now losing out, so maybe a bit more tire wear in the wet conditions perhaps, which is the rear tire wear.
Yep, definitely. I think the rear end is sliding around, especially at China. I mean, you say it's a front limited track, but I also feel that the rear is quite twitchy at times.
Yep.
But Fivezan making up another position. I think BK may have had a spin.
BK is struggling with those rear tire wear.
I just think it's struggling with his damage. He's not able to get to the power
front straight damage. Yep. As Freeze tries to go around the outside of Faizan, but does not gets on the AstroTurf, which he do not want to do.
Yep, Fivezan says thank you very much and takes P7. Yep, but Freeze gets a great exit. Fivezan will hug the inside, but who will burn more ERS? I don't know how Fivezan has managed to burn all of his ERS in the wet conditions.
Yep, you can see that Faizan's front left is not in a really good state here.
It really isn't. But it's okay, because I don't think that the drivers will stay on the like you rightfully said earlier, the inters may not be a tire which they have to go to the end with.
Yep.
I'm interested to see who blinks first at the front, because they do have the undercut gap to RB, but at the same time, Cryptid and Navi, I think whoever gets the lead the lead will be crucial
Yep. Let's have a look at
deciding this.
Let's compare against Monk and Chicken is losing more than 2 seconds per lap on the wet, so I don't think it's time yet, folks, for the inters. For the wets.
Can you switch? But you say that, but can you switch to Evil Dog and Chicken for a second?
We don't know yet because Evil Dog is still on his out lap right now. We'll know
That could be the case because I am monitoring the gap between Chicken and Evil Dog because this may be a case of personal driver error. But if there are two drivers who are struggling with the same thing, that could be something to look out for.
Please should get the move done now. Poison sends it on the inside, but Freeze does get the undercut. But Freeze also overshots it a tiny bit. Oh, and Poison gets in the gravel and lose to both Freeze and Sid.
Faizan went so far off the track he may have to contact immigration. But luckily only loses, I think. He loses 2 positions. He won't be too happy with that, but he's got the capability to come back out.
Absolutely. And it says it's now open for the full wets, so it may be time. Evil Dog does cross the line. Let's try to see how he's doing with those. Does not switch to the car, but let's see. Now Evil Dog to the last lap. Oh, because Chicken got ahead. Okay, so we can't really compare.
I think we'll only see the benefits after benefits that Chicken and Evil Dog have gotten after everyone pits. So once we have all drivers pitting onto wet tires, only then will we see whether it's actually benefited the two or not.
Yeah, even in the last lap, where what do you call?
One second, Evil Dog has pitted again. Is he going back onto inters?
Could be. Because if we look at what Chicken has done here, like even in the lap where Faizan had that massive shoot, he still lost time on that particular lap.
Sorry to interrupt you, but Warhammer has spun at turn 1. He did spin at turn 1, and I think he has lost the position to Chicken.
Evil Dog went on to another set of bets. I don't know why, but okay. Alright, and field has pretty much spread out right now. I think the closest battle is the battle for P1. RB is gaining on them ever so slightly. Let's have a look at their related times. Yep, as you can see, RB did gain 3/10, but is also losing time. But now crossing this line, he seems to be gaining time overall over the last 4 laps.
Yep. And Chicken has just got Faizan, I think 2 seconds in 1 lap, or maybe more. And can you go on about Chicken for a second? He's making a move on Faizan, and or Faizan has damage. Faizan lunges it down the inside. That yeah, that just may go to the stewards.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I think Faizan will dive into the pits. What is the point of doing that if he's going to the pits? And
oh no!
I think that's karma. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But either way, he'll have to change his front wing anyway and strap on a fresh pair of wet weather tires.
I think he'll have to gamble on the wets now. If he wants any chance of still being in this race.
Absolutely. I'm curious to see where he lost the majority of his front wing.
We're going to be in stormy conditions in 5 minutes. So it is
I
time
think
to
Faizan had a 5-second stop go penalty.
Yeah, because of the collision, Nirma, if you remember, under safety car.
Ah, yes. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, seems having a battle on track between Harry and Banger. Let's see how that's going. Harry has been losing quite a lot to Moinish Banger in the last couple of laps. So not really happy. And I think, if I'm not wrong, no, actually, yep. It seems the top 4 are kind of equal.
Can you go about with Freeze? He's wheel to wheel with Deepak right now. Very, very close to the Freeze. But go ahead, Masim, sorry.
Yeah, as you can see, Freeze right now slipstreaming behind Deepak, but Deepak seems to have the better straight line speed. He's going to send one on the inside. Nope, decides he's going to try send one on the outside. Nope, but Deepak has it covered off, but Freeze will now get the better traction with that particular line. But can he now stick it in turn 1? No, cannot follow Deepak that closely through the final corner. But he does seem to get much better traction, even though he was on the AstroTurf. He's going to send Deepak covers up the inside, but leaves that 1 bit gap. But I did sense a little bit of a late move from Deepak on the defense.
Okay. We've had BK spin in sector 2. Yeah, a lot of drivers finding China a bit of a battle right now.
Yep. I think, as you said, it is time for the wets now, and they will be. It's about time they start hitting. And I think whoever's going to go on the wets is going to gain quite a bit of time right now.
That being said, I'm not seeing.
Deepak sends one on Harry there. I think Harry made a mistake and fell back. Yep.
Potentially, but I'm a little surprised at the pace of both Warhammer and Chicken because they don't seem to be catching Monk all too quickly.
I think what's happened is that they boxed so early that the tires are now, if you look at Chicken's tires, they're not in a good state anymore. I think the same applies to Warhammer as well, since he's been on this tires for some long, so they're overheated. They need that time to cool down.
Absolutely. But in these conditions, I think used wets would be much better than used intermediates. So we should see a time difference of at least a few seconds a lap.
I think a decision now comes on the drivers of whether they should commit to another set of inters, take them till the end, or commit to another set of wets.
They definitely can't go back onto a fresh set of inters because there's no way the inters will be the proper tire to be on. That being said, we had a slow-moving McLaren in the run-up to this Mercedes. Sorry, I think that's Chicken who had a bit of an incident. Yeah, Chicken did have an incident. I lost him about 8 seconds.
I saw Avi was 1.3 tenths off initially, but then he very quickly made that time up on Cryptid. So I think Avi is a faster driver in these particular conditions, but he's struggling to get ahead of Cryptid.
Can you go on board Cryptid for a second? Yeah, I think there's no way Avi's going to get ahead of Cryptid because Cryptid's been chilling, not using his ERS at all, not even thinking about his ERS. And while Avi is, I think, down on 15%, which may be one of the factors in the pace difference.
Oh, we missed it, but RB has gotten ahead of Monish. And BK19 has been lapped.
I think we got it, right? I think RB overtook Monish a while back under when Crazy Joe disconnected.
Oh, yep, you're right. My bad.
But yeah, he's pulled out a significant gap to Monish. I think it's 8.5 seconds now, and he's set his sights on the leaders. But as we say, that Deepak does have a bit of a tail-happy moment. It's sort of undermining a lot of the good work that he did, but it's far from over. He stays out of the wall and he lives to fight another day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think yesterday we had both Ninja and Moto having slight taps at the wall, but ultimately costing them a lot of damage. So I think he's lucky he did not hit the wall.
Yeah, even Probian, I think he got out fairly unscathed. But yeah, Avi seems to be right on the rear of Cryptid right now, but I don't think he's going to be close enough.
Yeah. I think there is a small possibility that when Cryptid bets, he could become held up by Avi, but it's a very small chance. Because Avi is, of course, further ahead in the pit.
RB has pitted. He think he's the first of the front runners to blink. To try and make up that deficit. He stayed on the intermediates though.
Very interesting tactics, I would say.
Oh well, like we said earlier, you have to do something different. But intermediate tires going into stormy conditions, that may not be the best decision.
Yeah, but this is actually very similar to what we had in Hungary last season in Tier 2, where it was inters, but it got stormy very quickly.
Yeah, so, it might have been better to stay out a few laps. And see how it goes.
I think maybe obviously the tire were too and did not decide to take an early call. But let's see what happens. But I think bigger point is that he is also on he is also suffering from a bit of he's now come into traffic as well, which is I think the bigger issue right now. So he needs to get ahead of Crazy Joe quite quickly. And if you look at the gap, and if Cryptid also boxes now, he's going to come, I think, just behind Death Hunter. And if Death Hunter does not pit, again, the traffic propagation comes into play. They're going to lose time. So right now, I think staying out may be the better choice given the current situation of the driver's relative position. But as you can see, Sid has now boxed to the wets. Let's see how he's doing relatively. So if I can bring up relative lap times.
I think this is his first lap, so we should probably
So we can
Wait a
see on the
minute.
left that Cryptid is right now doing 47 threes. So okay, 47.5. Let's say take on average, and let's monitor someone who's on the wedge right now and see what times they're doing relatively. So that should give us an idea.
Yep. Let's go on board with Evil Dog. He's on a fresh set of wet tires.
He has big damage, so okay. I think
It's pretty
Sid will
heavy
just not
damage
finish.
here.
I think Sid will just not finish his first lap. Skrizo also goes into the pits, and let's see. Let's bring up Sid. Let's see what time he does on the line.
This was his pit lap.
Wrong driver. Yep. So yeah, Sid was on his pit lap. My bad. I should say that Monish Banger got a 5-second penalty for crossing the pit lane exit line. That's a new one.
I've actually gotten the same penalty before.
Yep.
But mine was in Monaco, where I definitely cut the pit exit line.
Yep. But now crossing. Let's see if Sid is gaining on Monish in that particular traction zone. More
Yeah,
or
but
less even.
I think we should probably go on board with RB, who's right on the back of Death Hunter. Or not on the back of Death Hunter any longer.
A tight squeeze from RB there.
Yeah. Wasting absolutely no time in getting the move done convincingly, because he's on those fresh set of boots and you don't want him, and you don't want to be held up
Yep,
at all. So he's made quick work of both Monish and Death Hunter.
Yep. I think RB with those pressure inters are definitely getting ahead, and I'm going to bet that he's going to come ahead of RB at this point. So yeah, we'll look at his lap time. Let's have a look. Can't say because RB is still on his lap. But he's been stuck behind a few drivers. But let's see where he comes out relative to RB here.
There's this yellow flag in sector 2, and I think there's a spun.
I think
Mercedes.
I think that's chicken. Yep, it is chicken.
Oh, the race goes from bad to worse for him, unfortunately.
But RB did get out of RB, and by 3 seconds, so that means he's in the net lead right now.
This is going to be very, very close, folks. But don't forget, Cryptid has more than enough ERS to pull back on RB, and RB seems to be in mortal level right now.
Yep. Free is also on to go into pressure the winters. He needs to be catching Monish right now. But let's see, as we can see, actually Death Hunter very close. Gets all out of shape. Their exit. Kriti running very well in the points here.
That kind of put Death Hunter in danger of being overtaken by Nirma, who's gone down the inside of the Ferrari. Good job.
Yep. But now, I think that means Harry and has to now come into the pits, and Cryptid does come into the pits. Let's see what tires he chooses to opt for.
Well, the inters are seeming fairly quick, but it could just be the difference in the tire age.
Yep.
Oh, he's going to wets.
So he shows in the wets.
Hold your breath, folks. Hold your breath, folks. This is the moment of truth. RB has just rounded the final corner. Harry will probably go through, but I think Cryptid is safe to RB. And now we have a proper comparison between the wets and the inters.
Yep. If you remember, last race Adi Warhammer took the inters all the way to the end. So I wonder if Harry's planning to do that. Would be, but it seems very unlikely though. But let's see.
Yeah, I mean this track does have a high likelihood of safety cars, and more so in the rain.
Yep.
So it could just be that the Haas is hanging on for dear life in the hopes that the racing gods will shine on him.
Something I've noticed, the rain has really picked up in the last couple of minutes. You can see it's now pouring cats and dogs right now. So potentially now it is now into the wedges. But I think RB is still looking very comfortable out of that traction zone. Nope, RB is actually sitting out on this particular traction zone. So we'll have a proper comparison as Cryptid is right on the tail of Harry. Harry is not letting go. But Crippet should have a lot, plenty of PRS and related to Harry. He should get the move done.
I've noticed Cryptid is not being able to get the car to work in under sort of in the dirty air, and that's really hurting him, especially against Harry, who's a much more used Inters.
Potentially, he
RB's
could. Yeah, potentially,
Go
I
ahead.
think Crippet could be running a more aggressive setup, which is kind of costing him right now. Went behind on the car, but let's see. But I think the big loser has been Abhi, who has lost quite a lot of positions as Harry does go into the pits, I believe. Yep.
Releasing our two net leaders, which oh, and Harry picks up a 5-second to boot. That's not
Yep.
going to be good. Chicken spit it again onto another set of Inters.
Rather strange, if I should say so. But we right now have Harry. Okay, Harry's already pitted, but I think those pit stops, the timing of pit stops, cause a lot of field spread. As we can see, a lot of drivers are now separated by quite a lot now. But I think one thing we conclude is that the undercut was very powerful.
Undercut is definitely powerful, but the two drivers who are not very spread out is the battle for the lead. So if we had to pick one battle to go on board with, I'm not going to complain. But
Yeah,
it makes our job much easier.
absolutely.
Can you go on board with RB instead? I want to see how well he's following the Mercedes and seeing if he's actually gaining. And Cryptid makes a mistake. Will RB capitalize? No, RB chooses to stay behind. Not sure if it was a choice, but he does stay behind. Okay, how much do you think the championship battle will play on RB's mind? Do you think he'll be happy with taking home the 19 points, or
I think he'll be pretty happy. If I were RB, I would be pretty happy right now. But I think he'd still want the win because he would want to get the win here still. Because at the end of the day, we're all racing drivers, and if the win does look under does look possible for him, so I think he's going to like push for that win today. But now.
Yep.
But now, Crippet doesn't look that comfortable on the wet tires right now. Let's check on the times. RB has been tough to say really, but I think he is slower behind Crippet because Crippet times haven't been that good in the on the wet tire. So I think in terms of the tires to be on, as you see, RB gets a big oversteer movement out of turn 3.
I think Inters are the faster tire right now, but the wets are the safer tire.
True. That's quite possible. If we do, the rain does really pick up a lot more. It's going to be very difficult to keep the pace.
I just have to say that in the last sector, Cryptid has been significantly faster than RB. I'm not sure if it was just because of driver error, but yeah, I think it may be transitioning to a point where the wets are significantly better, because we all know RB is a great driver and he's probably on board tier 1 pace, so in both of the drivers are. I say that and a little too optimistic on the brakes, but recovers the car fairly well.
I think that shows that the Inters are right now falling off ever so slightly. So as you can see, he probably got caught off by the brakes on the brakes there. I can see Sid is now gaining quite a lot on Harry. Oh, Sid on a controller? Don't you have to be?
I have no idea. Can you go on board with freeze?
But, oh my god. There's quite a lot of wheel banging going on with Banger there. Had to say that.
Yep. they must be freezing in the Chinese, under the Chinese rain. Yes, folks, bringing you active Formula 1 conversation. Masim and I.
Yep, now let's see if Freeze is trying to stay close as we have a yellow flag in sector 3 and Deepak Raj has retired. Is there going to be a safety car? And that is a safety car, folks.
Oh, why didn't Harry stay out a little longer?
Yeah, he couldn't have because his tires were literally dead at that point because we can already see people because he was already struggling quite a bit. But the problem is now everyone with penalties are like just gonna get what do you call pretty much like dead, being dead in the water right now.
Yep, yep. But great stuff for Chicken, Evil Dog, Five Zan, Warhammer,
No, they're actually,
Death Hunter, who can all sort of
they're actually
latch back
labbed.
onto
They're
that.
actually labbed right now, so you know what that means.
Oh shit.
So they
Yep.
so if in their position, I think like, there's no point
This
of
is the
racing
worst
right
place
now.
to be.
Yeah,
This is the worst
exactly.
place to be, yeah, because the game doesn't allow you to unlap yourself. And yeah, they're just going to be stuck at the back of a DRS train. I mean, stuck at the back of a train without having brakes, evidently. I'm just joking.
And
Um,
Reese is disconnected.
Freeze disconnects or gains a position. I think his AI is doing what he couldn't, maybe.
Oh, and RV who's some. I'm gonna bet we're gonna see a penalty anytime soon. Looks of it.
Well, if RB does slow down, we will, but I think RB slowed down enough for RB to get past. RB goes into the pits. A bit of a null point there to give the position back to him.
Yep. RV stays out. RV goes into the pits. Strange. Is he gonna go for a set of wets? He is. But he loses place to Freeze now, who is disconnected. Banger goes into the pits. So that's a free position for Harry. Or should be.
Maybe 2 free positions.
3 actually. Or 2.
I think he'll come out behind RB? No,
He does.
he gets out in front.
But there's gonna be a rather long safety car if I should say so. Because of the general field spread we're seeing.
Yep, yep.
But as we see there, Avi now. Avi stayed in the Inters. Free stayed in the Inters. It's gonna be close to call. Because we have already seen 2 people overshot the braking zone in turn 10. Both RB and Mohnish, we saw them overshoot turn 10. So I think, oh, as I mentioned his name, he gets jinxed. But so I think
You know what? He may not need to serve it. He could get it removed because if the safety car goes in with 2 laps to spare, he may be able to actually get to the end of the race.
provided it does come in on lap 25. if it comes out now, it's gonna. But I think it's a hard limit that there should be at least 1 racing lap, if I recall, or 1 or 2. Because I've seen the safety car start as Evil Dog flies. Does he get a pen?
I think he's overtaking.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. I think he knew that he needed to get ahead of the safety car. He was hoping that the game allowed him to do that.
Yep.
It's fun. I mean, it's obviously wrong, but I understand.
Yep. It's gonna be a long safety car, isn't it?
But I just want to talk to you about something. About real life Formula One right now, while we have a bit of a breather.
Yep.
The current gap between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton is 3 points. The gap between Bottas and Perez is 2 points.
So, are you saying
This is turning out to be a scintillating season, which we've needed for a while, because I don't think in the last 3 years there's been a season where Hamilton has been behind. Actually, in 2018 he was behind for a while, until Silverstone, if I'm not wrong.
Even 2017 he was ahead. He was behind.
2017 he was behind until I think after Spain in 2017 the Mercedes was a superior car. The first 3 races for sure, the Ferrari may have had the measure
No,
of it.
actually, I think
but
2017 Ferrari were ahead all the way up till Hungary. And
In
then
the constructors or drivers? Because I
both,
think in the drivers,
no,
Hamilton got it back
constructors,
really quickly.
because Kimi wasn't really like up to scratch there in the early part of the season. But then what
That's
happened?
putting it mildly.
Yeah, I think he was a bit struggling with the SF70H initially, and then the later half, like basically Ferrari, like they're all power tracks, right? We have Spa, we have Monza, we have like all the tracks after that with
Silverstone,
extended.
Abu Dhabi, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those they're like basically Ferrari. I think Ferrari had outright the best chassis in 2017, but they couldn't really. They didn't have
And
the engine to capitalize on.
yeah, I feel they have the best chassis, best aero. I mean, it's what was between
And
them and Red
I'm
Bull.
going to
But
make a hot call that in 2021, Ferrari has the best chassis but has the worst engine right now.
agreed. Yeah, I actually agree with you. I think if you look at the innovation on the front wing with limited sort of regulation, that limited changes allowed, what Ferrari have done this season and what they've done with their car is actually genius. The front progression on their car from last season is actually the best on the grid, from my perspective. And they've also made significant changes to the rear end of the car, which has given them the rear stability that's been lacking since 2018.
I think the real test for Red Bull this season is going to be like deciding. Like Merc usually picks up a lot from Spa. Like we have generally seen it every season where Merc just gets into another level of groove after Spa, and I think that's what Red Bull has to like compete against.
Yep. Well, Mercedes are the current emperors of Formula One for a very valid reason, and I think the way they evolve and adapt through the season to make sure they don't lose. They are scared of losing, and they know nothing else but they've known nothing else but winning for too many years now. And I think that practice and that habit to do so is what may pull them in front.
Yep.
But as I'm on board with you, that Free seems to have gone through Avi. It's trying to give the position back, but I hope the game allows him to.
I think he took control back, and at that point, basically his game went ahead, and I think then he gave that position back.
Yeah, but the AI has done a lot for Freeze right now.
Yeah, and I think something else I'd like to point out is Sid and RBR. One of them is effectively on the podium because Freeze and Harry has penalties.
Yep. Harry's got 8 seconds, which is going to drop him down significantly if he cannot pull a gap to Crazy Joe in Nirma. But this safety car is coming in this lap, and we will have 2 laps of racing. It's not enough. It's not nearly enough, folks, but hopefully that's enough for a bit of excitement. The field is bunched up, wet weather conditions. Every little mistake will probably lead to an overtake. So we won't be able to keep track of all the action, but we'll definitely try. Masoom, you're going to have a tough time with the next 2 laps. Excited? Rested?
Yep. Let's see. I just finished
Yep.
Chapati here on the side. Let's see.
Yep. So let's stay on board with Freeze or Harry going into the start. Cryptid is sticking fairly close to the safety car, which is unusual.
Let's see what. Let's run with the virtual cam, off cam, the broadcast cam actually. Let's see what they do. Checking it's a penalty for colliding with Munish Banger. Ouch. Pretty because they were Ferrari, isn't it? And Kirpit is already gone, but I can see Harry really struggling off the exit. RB might get him into turn 1, but backs out.
I think Chicken's gone into the pits. He's had enough. He's probably going to retire the car.
Yep, if you're right.
But either way, yeah, Cryptid is becoming an expert at the safety car restarts. 1.5 seconds in 2 corners, folks. That's not an insignificant margin. But let's not forget, he is on those wet weather tires.
As we said, the inters are not in at all, as Harry gets all of the power and loses the Sid, but Sid is now ahead. And I think the inters are not working at all, as Harry. I'm not sure what's happening right now, as Sid gets
Sid lost the car, and Harry and Death Hunter consume him? I'm not sure what happened there. I saw Red Bull.
Someone lost their wing there for sure, because that was the size of the head that Sid got. But it shows that the inters are not the tires to be on, and the wets are definitely the best tires right now on the grid.
Absolutely. And Harry's lost it. He keeps it out of the wall. He keeps his front wing in one piece. rejoined safely, but that's him done with 8-second penalty. He's probably not going to be able to recover. But Sid also went out at the same corner. I think we missed that. RB is hot on the tail of Freeze. He's probably going to get this move done down the inside. And he sets off against Avi, who's, I believe, also on inters. This may be a brilliant result for RB. Avi picks up a 3-second to add some sort of to add salt to his wounds. But you can be latest on the brakes.
You can see Avi just bleeding time to Cryptid now with on those inters.
RB just made up 2 positions in one corner.
Yeah. That shows how much more grip the inters have right now. I mean, the wets have right now. Okay.
Yeah. Could you bring up the tire compass?
Yeah.
Or we can play a game of guess the tire based on the base difference.
Death Hunter on the wets. Can he get ahead of Avi right now? Goes on the inside.
Avi just cannot. The understeer on those inters is just torture right now, I'm sure.
Yep.
He's drifting the car. He's drifting the car to stay on board with that Hunter, but he's not able to. He's just not able to keep pace.
So if you look at the penalties, Avi need to stay within 5 seconds of Death Hunter to have the podium.
And in that fiasco, Cryptid has pulled out 7.5 seconds in one lap.
Yep, absolutely. Just look at the amount of time Avi is losing on those inters behind Death Hunter. So Death Hunter needs to pull 5 seconds in one lap to get his first podium in Tier 2. So it's scenario 7, boys. Actually, I don't know what. I think it's K1 plus on Ferrari.
K1 plus. Yes. No wonder the Ferrari is so complicated to drive.
Yes. And now Monk is right now on the tail of Freeze right now. And can he get the move done? Harry's in the tail of Nirma over there. I'll be monitoring that. But let's see if Monk can get ahead of. But let's go on. But Harry for a second there. Can he get ahead of Nirma here? Tries to go around the outside of turn 11. Can he do it? And he gets it done. Brilliant move from the horse driver. But I think
despite going onto the curbs, he still manages to get ahead. I mean, brilliant move from Harry. Let's go on board with Monk, see if he can come back at Freeze. But Freeze on these inters breaks as late as possible, hugs the inside. I mean, he broke very, very late for those intermediate
and
tires.
Cryptid crossed the line. He does win the IRC Tier-2 Chinese Grand Prix. It's going to be really close between Avi and Death Hunter. And Death Hunter gets a penalty on the final corner. I think so.
No, it's 5 seconds on sir.
Oh, and Avi clinches the final podium spot by 5/10. That was very close between the top two.
Yeah, I think you and I were talking about sometimes 2 different drivers, but we are just trying to bring you all the action happening on the final 2 action-packed laps.
Yep.
So, what a race!
Yep. Faizan now crossing the line. Where does he finish? P11 on penalties replied, and Warhammer now crossing the line. P13. Ooh, that was an exciting 2 laps. I think, yeah, there was too much going on across every inch of the track. Alright. And we can see Abhi Ferrello finished P2. But also, along with that, he gets fast lap, so he gets to take 19 points. Cryptid wins the race, gets his special 25 points. Avi on those inters just barely clung on by 5/10 to that final podium spot. Death Hunter in P4, Monk in P5, Freeze in P6, Sid Kulkarni in P7, Crazy Zoe in P8. A good result from him, given he was a bit on the back foot after the disconnect. Washington in P9, Harry Rocks in P10, loses out on penalties. Faizan in P11, Warhammer in P12, Monish Banger in P13, PK19 in P14, Chicken, Evil Dog, Deepak Raj, Scary Pumpkin, and Akash. I think all of them whom retired round out the top 10, round out our races for today. Ooh, that was an interesting race.
Could you bring me to the top of the screen for 1 second?
Wait, for some reason my game isn't moving. 1 sec, yeah.
So that's Avi, Cryptid, and RB on the podium. Let me just try and get Cryptid and Avi into the commentary box. But until then, folks, put in your predictions for driver of the day. At the end of the day, there are no points, but it's just bragging rights, and we all know how important bragging rights are. So please put in your prediction for driver of the day. We'll bring that to you shortly. But anyway, Masim, how did you enjoy the race?
I think it's like having a biryani compared to having its fried rice. Well, fried rice you have one taste, but in this particular case, I felt like it was like having a lot of spices in your food. It was a lot to take in, and I think a lot of drivers drove brilliantly well given how tricky the conditions were.
Absolutely. Um, yep, we have to. Couple says evil dog driver of the day for the heroics, but it probably dropped a few too many positions to get that spot. Either way, for me, my driver of the day is probably Cryptid. No mistakes. I think it was a Hamilton-esque drive in the Mercedes. I mean, if you think about Brazil 2016, everyone spoke about Max Verstappen and his brilliant antics, but that was because he spun a couple of times. He drifted a few corners, but Cryptid made absolutely had zero incidents. He was strong, level-headed, and did what he needed to do. Got the strategy right. For me, the driver of the day is Cryptid.
Yep, I agree with you. I think the driver of the day is scripted too. Did not put a foot wrong, got the strategy right. All in all, a very good performance from him.
Yep. In the meanwhile, I'm still trying to get Cryptid and Avi in, but we have RB with us.
Yep.
So RB, how was the race? How did you enjoy the race? You had a fairly eventful race, a couple of tail happy moments, should we say? But finishing in P2, is that what you thought would happen at the 50% mark?
Absolutely not. I wanted to win, yeah. But yeah, I mean the starting few laps were fun. I had to get the lead. That was the plan, and the fastest lap because I knew it would rain, and then the 1 point would matter a lot. So I mean, no one would get that. So I grabbed the fastest lap, and later on, I just put 1 foot wrong. I think it was turn 4, and then it was a good drive from Cryptid as well. So
Well, whatever you did worked. So congratulations on the P2. But moving to our race winner, Cryptid, welcome to the podium interviews.
Yeah.
How does it feel?
Yeah.
Walk us through your
Oh,
race.
it feels really good. Like the strategy worked in the end, which I was not sure of because Jeff was telling that it was going to get lighter, but
Yep.
it didn't. So yeah, it worked in my favor.
I mean, you saw a lot of drivers around you on intermediate tires,
Yeah.
and yet you chose to pit and go on to wets. What drove that? What drove that decision?
Because I was driving and driving, and as I was driving, I was noticing that the grip was lessening lap by lap. So I had a doubt that might be fully wets, but still I had a hunch, so I just went for it. So yeah.
Now, one of the crucial moments in the race was when RB sort of pitted a lap earlier and was able to undercut Avi by, I think he gained, about 3 or 4 seconds on Avi in one lap. Uh,
Yeah.
and we obviously were under the impression that that was because of the tires. Were you ever concerned that you were not going to be pit safe to RB? Because we know you came out behind Harry Rocks, but were you ever concerned you would not be pit safe to RB, or were you fairly comfortable about your position on track?
Yeah, I was actually worried because here everyone was on inters and I was only on wets. But as soon as I got out of the pit lane and there's a straight after that kind of a chicane, slow chicane,
Yep.
um, there I was gaining a little bit of time. So I thought that I should hang on to this wets because it is getting worse. It was getting worse, the track. So yeah,
Gotcha. But congratulations on the win. Stellar drive from you,
yeah,
start to
thank you,
finish,
man.
pole position, pole position. Didn't get the fastest lap, but not far
Yeah.
off. Avi, moving on to you. Great drive. 3 second penalty towards the end of the race. Not, I think, ending on a slightly bitter note. But how do you feel?
I feel actually great. Like this was like past of a few races were like really bad for some one reason or the other. Even today during the pit stop, I had to serve a 5 second penalty because someone hit me during the safety car. So that's why the RB that's why RB was ahead of me after the pit stops.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we missed that 5 seconds. But either way, did I mean you seem to make up quite a few positions. Was there was that because of incidents? What was your you knew there was a change of conditions coming up, and
Yeah.
was your goal to get as many positions at the start, or were you sort of just waiting for the long run because you knew that in the wet conditions people would make mistakes on a circuit which is as technical as China?
Yeah, initially, actually, I didn't hope the rain to was so early. I was hoping like it would be like in 20 minutes in the race, but it was like it started at the start of the race. So my medium tire strat didn't work over there. But yeah, I managed to still get a couple of positions at the start, and yeah, there were incidents which helped me get few more positions. So I was happy with it.
So, a question for any of the drivers here. On our telemetry, it showed the initial part. It showed that the rain would come a bit later. Were all of you caught out by how quickly it came? Why don't we start with the race winner? Cryptid, did you sort of do your setup and your strategy based uh on an expectation which was different from the final weather status, or were you always aware that it was going to come down almost immediately?
I didn't know that it would come that quick, but I was suddenly happy because the softs I was in, they were around 3 laps old because of the quali.
Yep,
So it actually kind of worked in my favor again. So, yeah.
fair enough. Avi, oh sorry, RB, what about you? RB, you with us?
I was AFK. What?
So, were you caught out by how quickly the rain came out? Was that what the game told you when you checked the weather predictions for the race?
Actually, the game told me to pit for inters because it wasn't that bad. But 3 laps later, 4 laps later, when Cryptid pitted, so it was getting more and more rainy. So
Right, right,
he was very lucky with the strategy. And
sure.
if it wasn't to be much rain, then definitely I had the undercut on both Avi and Cryptid.
I was actually talking about at the start of the race that how caught off you were by the rain coming so quickly.
Oh, about that, I actually planned to go for soft and soft because I thought that the rain would come by the like lap 12, 15 or something like that. But the rain came early, and then when I was battling with Cryptid, so there I put a foot wrong, and then I spun. Yeah, I was caught out by the rain, but then
Fair enough.
good fair racing from Cryptid as well.
Of course. And Avi, were you caught out at all by how quickly the rain started?
Yeah, yeah, I was actually. I saw that okay, rain's gonna come around lap 12 or lap 15. It said 20 minutes in the telemetry. So that's why I like did my quali on medium star, so I don't have to pit in between after soft because softs can extend up to 8 to 9 laps, and that is it. Yeah, I was pretty much caught out with the early rain.
Yep. Anyway, we loved it. We love seeing variable conditions. So that was a lot of fun. I hope that we see a very exciting upcoming title battle. RB running away with it a little bit. Slow down. But either way, thank you all for an exciting race. But Mausum, any questions for the drivers?
No, but I think you covered all the questions I had. One question to Avi. You knew that you were on the back foot in the last lap, uh, with being on the inters and with Death Under being on the wet tires. So how much were you pushing, or not pushing? How much confidence did you have that you could still keep that last final podium spot?
Um, I was actually I didn't know that I was gonna finish on podium because I was not focused on like how much penalty does dead hunter had. I was like just I want to stay ahead. If I want to finish, I want to P4. That's why like I was using rich mixture overtake throughout the last lap whenever I could. So I was like really pushing hard. I knew like Monk was behind me, Freeze was behind me. I was like scared that Monk could catch up at the last lap because he was on wets. But Freeze kind of helped me out a bit
All right.
indirectly.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, that's good to know. And I think that's our feel for today. And I think really good driving from all the drivers. And hopefully, for the next race, I think which is in Canada. I hope all of you guys have a great race as well there. All right, I think that's our stream for today. Thanks to all the folks for joining in, and let's